The craziest things kids did in school. One day at one elementary school, a couple classes of students were outside. The fire department drove one of their fire trucks to the school and was letting the kids look around and ask them questions. Well, this one kid was getting a little bit too curious. The firefighters were earlier demonstrating the fire hose, but they had set it down for a second. This kid went up to the fire hose, picked it up, and started blasting people with it.
I think you broke my leg. Good heavens.
He was holding on for dear life, spraying students and teachers, knocking teachers down and causing students to fly halfway across the yard. He was eventually stopped, but this kid definitely went for it. This kid had a rough day. He was in class one day and the teacher was teaching a lesson. He was in a pretty good mood this day, so he was talking to his friend about what they were gonna do during the weekend. So you're gonna come to my house at 5 p.m. on Friday. I have a bunch of cheese in my fridge and we can build that sculpture you were saying. Billy! Quiet down. I just can't wait for the cheese. Billy! I just asked you to quiet down. Go out in the hallway right now. No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go out in the hallway right now. Keep in mind that the door of the classroom has a window on it. Well, a couple minutes later, the students in this classroom noticed this kid peeking into the window. He was standing there for a good while before the teacher noticed this. When she saw him, she went over to the door and closed the curtain so he couldn't look in anymore. You could hear this kid crying out in the hallway. Believe it or not, this kid went to school administration and explained what happened. 3 days later, that teacher was fired. That seems a little harsh. During recess in 5th grade, this girl was on the playground when a boy who had a crush on her came up to her. Hey Stacy. Hi Kyle. I just want to tell you that I really like you and I want to know if you want to be my girlfriend. At that moment, she wasn't sure what to say. She thought this kid was nice, but she didn't like him like that, so she had to think of an excuse. There was a tree right next to them. This is what she said. No. This tree is my boyfriend. She then hugged and kissed the tree and walked away. She felt pretty bad. And later during recess, she saw that kid crying and kicking the tree that she told him was her boyfriend. Stupid tree. I hate you, tree. He thought this is how babies were made. This guy shared a story of how in junior year of high school, his friend had no idea how babies were made. This is what he thought would happen. He actually believed that when you got married and you and your wife were ready to have a baby, you would take your wife to a hospital, they would put you in a room, and you would pee on your wife. And then bingo, your wife was pregnant. His friend was like, no dude, that's actually super messed up. He then educated his friend on how exactly babies are conceived. Needless to say, his friend was incredibly embarrassed. In one middle school, this kid asked his teacher if he can go to the bathroom. Can I go to the bathroom, miss? She said, no, you just went 10 minutes ago. Well, this made him very angry. And right after she said no, he grabbed his sharpened pencil and stabbed it right into his hand. How about now? Can I go to the bathroom now? Yeah. Yeah, you can. And go to the nurse too, and then to the principal's office. His parents were called, and he most likely had to go talk to a therapist. When this guy was in high school, the mascot was a bulldog. Well, one day, this kid was driving around doing donuts in the high school parking lot when he accidentally ran into the statue of the bulldog. The crash knocked the bulldog off its platform, and this kid freaked out. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. He looked around and nobody saw what happened, so he got out of his car, picked up the bulldog, and shoved it into his trunk. Get in there, get in there, get in there. He then drove to a bridge and tossed the bulldog into the water, disposing of the evidence. I'm so sorry. He never told anybody about this. It was a huge deal at the school with an entire investigation. It wasn't until 15 years later when he was having beers with his brother that he confessed. His brother was amazed that he was able to keep this secret for this long. This girl's dad had recently passed away and she was sitting in class when one of her classmates started to make fun of her. What's it like having a dead dad? Shut up. And the way he died too is just super embarrassing. I said shut up. Jeez, I know your dad's dead, but don't take it out on me.
Mrs. She hit me with her science book.
I know, I saw. And you deserved it, Kayla. Jessica? Yes? Do it again. One day, this college student emailed her professor to tell her that she was sick and couldn't come to class. The professor did not believe her at all, so she responded to her student with an email that said, "Kate, you know if you're going to lie about why you aren't in class, you could at least be a bit more original than 'I'm sick.' Geez, if I told my boss that back in the old days, she'd have dragged me into work and made me sleep there." The crazy part is, the student was actually sick. In fact, she had just been diagnosed with cancer, and she was feeling sick from all the chemo. I bet she felt real stupid after that. At this one British high school, after gym class every day, people would notice change and stuff missing from their lockers and their pockets. Well, one day, this kid really wanted to find out who was doing this, so he turned his phone camera on record and put it in his pocket. After gym class, when all the other students were noticing they had stuff missing, he checked his camera, and he caught the thief red-handed.
Alrighty, what do you have in here?
Apparently, the girl that had been stealing from everyone was from a very rich family. She was even a successful child actor who starred in a bunch of TV shows. So why was she stealing change from people? Who knows? But like I said, she was caught and she got into serious trouble. One day during class in middle school, this kid saw a thermos in the back of the classroom. Turns out it was the teacher's, but he did not know this at the time. He then goes to the bathroom with the thermos. He then comes back, the teacher sees him and says, "Oh, you found my thermos, thank you so much. You can just put it on my desk." And he does. He then walks out of the room without saying a word. The teacher opens the thermos and is incredibly confused and disgusted. Apparently, this kid took a inside of her thermos. At one middle school, there was a student who would later be known as Cheeseburger Kid, and here is why. One day, right before lunch, he left the school. He walked around the school and found an area of the building that would be easy to climb. Perfect. He then scaled the building and got on the roof. Now, the cafeteria at this school had skylights, windows that looked to the sky. Once he was on the roof, he made his way over to one of the skylights above the cafeteria. He pulled a brick out of his backpack and then he jumped down. The cafeteria was selling cheeseburgers, and his plan was to steal all of them and escape.
Hey, somebody stop that kid!
He even punched a lunch lady.
You stop right now! You stop right now!
Finally, the police show up and grabbed him. He bit the police officer's hand, and then he went to juvie, never to be heard of again. There was this one teacher at this one high school that never let anybody use the bathroom, no matter how many times they asked. There was this one girl in class who hated this teacher, and the teacher hated her. Every day, she would always ask if she could use the bathroom, and the teacher said no. Well, on the last day of school, this girl was in this teacher's class. She asked the teacher twice if she could use the bathroom, and the teacher said no. This is what happened when she asked for the third time. "Miss, can I please use the bathroom? I really have to go. I swear to God, if you ask me one more time, no, you may not." "Okay, fine, but just remember, you did this." The girl then stood up, stared at the teacher, and peed her pants. She got in big trouble, but she went home and told her parents about this, and her father was a urologist. Her father called the school, and this teacher got into huge trouble.